transatlantic history. Or the green of the bay, lapping, slapping against abandoned boats off the west coast of fishermen's woes, woes whose interned innocence was captured long ago. Or the sandy tan as it sweeps across the Rio Grande, shifting migrant workers like wind scatters sands, yet sands never depart, simply shift from heart to heart or land to land, and all while the blues play. But the tale turns truly blue when you reach its richest hue, on plantations of dark, fertile soil where souls struggled and toiled to turn black and blue bruised skin into sharp, black obsidian that refuses to disappear, as long as the blues play. But you know what people say. It's just the past, has nothing to do with today. It's nothing but a mystery, a mysterious lapse in history, a lapse that's lasted till today, a lapse through which the blues still play. The songs of scarlet hues of native burial blues, the stories of lemon tea and transatlantic history, the tales of sands shifting from land to land, they all still play today. Even those of us who arrived recently from deserts across the seas have a history, and contemporary too, of blue bloods instead of Ottoman hues. So we all inherit the blues, cherish its tones and hues, believe it's necessary to share the views of our multiplicity, because we too were created. We too were divinely created for the purpose of others living and learning from our history. We too were divinely created as testimony to our ancestors overcoming adversity, and because we too were divinely created as humanity's living memory, as humanity's living history.
Alhamdulillah, very good. So how long did it take you to write that?
It actually took a couple days. You know, it's kind of like an on-demand sort of art, so when you know you have a deadline, it comes a lot quicker, you know. But when you have time, you know, it can take up to a week to come up with something that you feel comfortable performing.
Do you feel that you have more interest since September 11th? More people are interested in hearing about what Muslims have to say?
Definitely. That's definitely the case. I think what was really interesting to me, though, was to see that even Muslims were more interested in hearing about us and being Muslim after September 11th. So we actually had a big spread done about our group in the San Jose Mercury News, the front page of the arts and culture section.
Well, actually, you studied law, correct?
Yeah, and actually being a lawyer is not, you know, there's doctor, engineer, and then maybe lawyer, you know. So, you know, they sort of conceded that. But what I found was really interesting is I know a lot of people who are lawyers and artists and engineers and artists. So I don't think that, I mean, not that I don't think that people should pursue things like film school and art school professionally, but don't let it stop you that you haven't done that.
Yeah, I think that's a good point for all the young Muslim students or any students. If you're creative and you have some talents, don't just give it up if you want, if your parents are telling you to be a doctor or engineer. You can still do that if you really want to. I don't know why, but you can. And you can also do, you know, art on the side.
You know, address what you're talking about in terms of, you know, we've all, you know, we all acknowledge that Islam has this amazing history and this, you know, glorious tradition and whatnot. And, you know, as a film person, I can tell you how many times I've heard, you know, people come up to me and say, oh, you know, you should make movies about so-and-so and such, and you know, Salahuddin or what have you, you know, and you know, we need to put ourselves in a position where we can tell these kind of stories and people will listen and people will watch them, because, you know, the fact is that, you know, I always use the example of Steven Spielberg. You know, for 10+ years, he did Indiana Jones and E.T. and Jurassic Park, and then he made Schindler's List. Yeah. And nobody said, oh, look, it's that Jewish Spielberg. Nobody says that. He's Steven Spielberg. Let's go see the new Spielberg movie. And I think, in a sense, we need to realize just how much currency somebody in that kind of position has. Where he really, you know, when you're in that kind of position, you can make any type of movie, be it about the Islamic past or an Islamic future, and nobody's going to look at it as a proselytizing movie or a preachy movie.
Yeah, exactly.
That was actually something I was thinking about when we were talking about it earlier, that there are quite a few Muslim artists, actually, but they don't go out there advertising themselves as Muslim artists. Right. You know, they're artists, and a major part of their identity is being Muslim. But I think that if, just like anything else, if you're really good at what you do, if you're the best artist that you can be, then being Muslim will come through because that's part of who you are. But I don't think you necessarily have to, your first movie out doesn't have to be about Salah ad-Din, you know?
Right, exactly.
I think it's important just to take our rightful place in the dialogue in the society, modern society, and especially here in the United States and Canada. We need to show that we're full-rounded people, that we have all these talents like anybody else. I mean, it should be self-evident, but this may not be thanks to Hollywood and other people like that.
Learning how to express yourself is what humans do as they progress through time. We learn stuff, we correct ourselves, we go back. So learning about the arts is not just learning about our history, but it's also learning how to see inside yourself, express your ideas, and motivate others to look at different points of views.